You've probably heard that the FNAF 2 movie is coming out very soon. That gave me an idea to, well, capitalize on the advertisement and marketing of the movie and try and make a cool game. Firstly, just like making any game, you have to start with a clean project. After then creating the project, I then proceeded to create a map replicating the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 diner. Now that we have a map, we obviously need to be able to move around, look around the office. I did this by setting up a line trace by channel, which shoots from the mouse cursor. Get out! Great, that's the movement system down. I've kept it very similar to the original game, as I wanted the base feel of the game to be the same. Now that we have the movement system down, I wanted to get started on the camera system. The idea that I had for the camera system was to move the player towards the cameras instead of just flicking up and down a little iPad. The main reason I did this was to create more tension between going on the cameras, and it also just looks cooler. Oh yeah, and of course I also made an interaction system so you can actually interact with objects in the office. Now that we have interaction and movement in the game, we now need to set up the door and light mechanics so we can open and close the doors if there's any animatronics outside. I then started organizing all of my thoughts on how I wanted the doors to work and sound into a nice spreadsheet. I then started working away, as you can see. I also eventually came to a verdict on how I wanted the doors to function. I eventually had it so there was a red button and a yellow button. The red button signifying the door. If you were to click this button, the door would open or close depending on if it was already open or closed. This same functionality also pretty much applies with the light. You just gotta twist it so it just sets the intensity of the lights using timelines. Now that we have the doors and lights set up, I started working on the map again and started to set up the different scenes that will be displayed within the camera system. Big time skip, but all of the map design is pretty much final at this point. I also have all of the camera scenes set up properly, so parts and service actually looks like parts and service instead of just a blank room with an endoskeleton. Now all we have left to do is the AI for the different animatronics, the user interface for the death screen, windscreen, and main menu, and then lastly we have sound design. I started running low on time and decided to finally start working on the animatronic AI as well as their animations. Now what you're currently seeing was actually my first attempt at making the jump scare animations. Yeah, it was pretty bad. However, using some reference animations I found online, I eventually turned out with something that felt good and I was happy with. I now need to repeat this for every single animatronic. Bugs. A whole lot of stimming and bug fixing later. Everything finally works, but we are still missing what makes horror games actually scary: the audio. Now, when making the audio for the game, I wanted to make sure that all of the interactables were impactful. So I started to combine different sounds. For example, the door takes an impact sound when the door hits the floor, a slide sound for the door going up and down. You get the idea. Alright, that is almost everything done. Now we just need to make sure you can actually beat the game. So I got a few friends to playtest and we found out that you couldn't beat the game. After spending days balancing everything correctly, the game should now be winnable. Oh yeah, and I made a nightmare mode just in case it's too easy for some of you. Also, if you want to go and play the game, the link is in the description. Bye.